microphone towards me so I was audible and you could all hear me. I forgot to have my pre-stream pee, so this will appear strange enough. But hello everyone and welcome to the New Year's Eve live stream. Yeah, I'm going to move my camera down slightly. There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? But yes, hello everyone. Welcome. And I hope you're having a splendiferous time. I'm just going to get my phone to look at the live, so that I have a way. I have a way of looking at the YouTube chat, or the TikTok chat rather. But yes, so today we are taking a look at the Graham Hancock ancient apocalypse hypothesis, which is something that's should we getting no? Why is there no audio coming through TikTok? We got, hang on, is there audio coming through TikTok now? There we go. There you go. I think I fixed it. There we go. There you go. I think I fixed it. There we go. Right. There we go. Right. Excellent. Right. Sorry about that, guys. Right. Okay. Yes, the audio problems do seem to have fixed themselves. Because I forgot I had the TikTok chat on mute. But yes. So we are here today looking at the ancient apocalypse hypothesis by Graham Hancock, which is what they discovered in Egypt terrifies the whole world. I haven't seen this video yet. I'm going in completely blind. However, if you do want to send me anything to react to as the show goes on, feel free to. Just give me like the clear name of what you want to see as well. If you want to see in full screen, obviously check over on YouTube. To get this show on the road, we'll be opening the Cherry Copperberg, which is, as we well know, is fruit juice. I will have to get my Dalek bottle opener to initiate proceedings, and voila, we get going now. Mr. Dalek back. I left the bottle opening to the live so I could do it. So I could open a bottle on live, and I clearly didn't plan that out as well as I wanted to, if I'm brutally honest. In the TikTok chat, we've got Tepes obviously saying we can't hear anything until I fix the audio. Happy New Year to Ameridan and Freya. Good to see you in the chat. So without further ado, let's get into the reason why I'm drinking in this stream. Graham Hancock.
And so ruthless that they wipe out the entire megafauna of, for example, North America.
I don't like... He's going to say something about lasers, isn't he? Okay, right. The hieroglyphs thing I've seen so many times. In fact, I did an interview with Bite-Sized Ancient History, Kelsey, I think it's about just over a year ago, a couple of years ago now, where she pointed out that hieroglyphs, 9 times out of 10, when you see like a plane or something, it's just where they drew or wrote over the old hieroglyphs, which is what we do all the time. Like, you know, in school and stuff, you write over unless you have Tipp-Ex. You know, and it's hard to Tipp-Ex hieroglyphs. What's the audio like? Is it too loud or too quiet? Let me know.
The body is long, it's tall, and the head is quite out of proportion.
A trained sociologist, British writer Graham Hancock has worked as a journalist for many years.
Okay.
However, what he has become more popular for are his controversial scientific theories, which many regard as conspiracy theories. From pseudoscientific theories that explore ancient civilizations to extraterrestrial interactions.
We're not even 40 seconds in, and we've already got to aliens. We're not even 40 seconds in, and we've already got to aliens. I can't believe it. We're not even 40 seconds in.
With ancient humans, Hancock has proposed
Right.
unconventional theories that go
I'll turn it
against
down for you.
mainstream historical accounts. What is so special about these theories that mainstream scientists have labeled them as not factual? What will these theories tell us about historic civilizations? Join us in this video as we explore the 10 craziest conspiracy theories.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Adverts. Excellent. Thank you, YouTube. If you have any specific Graham Hancock
by
videos you
Graham
want me to
Hancock.
react to as we go on this live, send them over. Okay, thank you.
Popular works is
Right.
his theory on the Hall of Records, believed to have been a library in ancient Egypt.
Okay, okay.
However, this Hall of Records was unlike today's usual library.
Right.
It is a mythical ancient library, believed to hold the knowledge of a lost civilization.
Okay, okay. I don't like where this is already going off the rails. This is
This
insane.
library is a knowledge repository containing thousands of prehistorical texts that serve the nobles of ancient Egypt.
Prehistoric texts, as in prehistory, as in the Mesolithic, the Neolithic, as in cavemen. Okay.
Hancock postulates not only a theory about the existence of this library, but also its location. He believes
I probably
that the
shouldn't be
mythical
doing this with
library is
alcohol.
located in
This
the
is how
Sphinx
Matt
statue
Hancock
on the
sues.
plains
Matt
of
Hancock,
Giza.
not Matt
The
Hancock.
exact location of the library is unknown.
Very different.
Nevertheless,
Of course, it's mythological.
Hancock opines that the library is in a hidden secret chamber inside the Sphinx monument. We wouldn't have discussed the ancient Hall of Records today without Edgar Cayce. It was Cayce who suggested the existence of the mythical library.
Right.
He wrote that the
Right, before we go further, because this is what I wanted to do. I want to... Right, Edward Cayce. Edward Cayce. Half... There we go, right. Edward Cayce... Oh, Edgar Cayce. No, he said Edward Cayce, didn't he? Did he say Edward or Edgar?
It was Cayce.
Did he say
We
Edward or
wouldn't
Edgar?
have discussed the ancient Hall of Records today without Edgar Cayce.
Okay, it was Edgar Cayce. Right,
who
okay, right. So is Edgar Cayce... Okay, I have a funny feeling whenever they bring up people like this, there's always some kind of specific... as in before writing. Yes! So, like, our early writing systems are Bronze Age sort of stuff. Whereas when people are talking about prehistory, it's normally... I'm not 100% sure on the official scientific stuff, but normally they're referencing very early tribal societies and stuff, or nomadic, or when nomadic lifestyles were universal as humans were moving from plains and following the game, because we were living in... Stone Age society is also a very incorrect terminology, but we weren't living in civilization yet, and writing was a long way off from being written. So when people start talking about prehistoric texts, they're normally talking about, like, the Isu, which is why on the thumbnail for YouTube, the Isu are there, because the joke is that there's always these. But see, the list of stuff, Edgar on Atlantis, this seems like one for Ada Mattis, he loves a bit of Atlantis. Edgar Cayce's wisdom has been transforming lives for nearly 100 years. Spirituality, holistic health. Okay, this man who has discovered the temple is the holistic health. Okay,
suggested the existence of the mythical
it's not down the
library.
path I
That the Hall of Records holds the lost civilization of Atlantis.
It's not
stored
quite
on
the path I was
tablets or
thinking, Dan.
scrolls, which documents their
I just said Atlantis. They just said documents from Atlantis.
knowledge of technology, history.
We're getting into conspiracy theories now. Yes, this is what's on YouTube. I asked everyone, like, what do you want me to look into for New Year's? It's just going to be me. Just give me a video, like, what do you want me to look into? And the choices were ancient aliens, ancient apocalypse, or something else. And everyone picked ancient apocalypse because you want my liver to suffer. But this is fruit juice, TikTok, because I know YouTube won't care, but TikTok, this is fruit juice. In archaeology, prehistory is usually before writing, although there are some fuzzy lines. Yeah, that's fair play. I'm not, like, I know a couple of archaeologists, so I'm not going to claim to be an expert on archaeology, although I know enough to call out the BS that's going to be coming out of... I keep going to say Matt Hancock, although arguably Matt Hancock is full of it as well, and that's the only political. Then again, the drink's coming in, so we might get some more spicy jokes as the evening goes on. On YouTube, Torchwood Edits says, "Yo man, what's up? Good to see you. Hope everyone that's watching is having a brilliant New Year on both TikTok and YouTube. And also, if you're on TikTok, make sure to share the live stream and definitely like, as it boosts me in the algorithm. Same to you guys on YouTube. Make sure you like and to comment in the live chat and on the actual video itself. Also, actually, how is the YouTube stream looking? Hang on. I didn't realise I had my other my personal Google app. yeah, Google's looking fine there. But yeah, no, if you're on YouTube, make sure you share the live link and yeah, share it about. But yeah, so let's keep looking into the absolute insanity that is this video.
And spiritual practices. Hancock is resolute in his hypothesis that the Hall of Records is hidden in a yet-to-be-discovered chamber in the Sphinx. He based his argument on the seismic surveys in the area that point to underground cavities near the Sphinx. Furthermore, he doesn't hesitate to reference the local folklore that hints at underground chambers, rooms, and passageways around the Sphinx.
That's not an insane hypothesis. Why is this always bugs me? This always bugs me with the ancient astronaut stuff, the ancient apocalypse stuff. Theory scientifically is a proven hypothesis. Like, theory is different. Like, when you're looking at a detective show, or if, like, I'm sitting there, you know, I'm playing a video game, like, I've got a theory of what's going on. Scientifically, theory is a proven idea. So when they say theory, it adds weight and credence to something that is unproven. And that's why I always refer to them as hypothesis, because I don't want to discount them entirely, because I'm coming at it from a neutral standpoint, and obviously people in academic fields probably want to push that away very quickly. But I also want to, like, analyze it, and so far I'm seeing the idea of there being stuff in secret chambers. I'm not going to discount, but mystical knowledge is maybe a bit more out there. Pardon me. This is also. I love how this is actually very much following the Assassin's Creed basis. So I was right to include Yisu. We're also only 3 minutes in, so we're good. It was funny to me they called it a prehistoric library. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking as well. They called it a prehistoric library. Like
the ancient library.
Just imagine, like, bunch of early Homo sapiens and Neanderthals fighting. And then writing down their encounters in a prehistoric library that they decided to then very well hide. I don't have an issue with the idea of a hyper-advanced ancient civilization, because there's 300,000 years of human history. There's definitely time for a civilization to rise and fall. The only issue I have of that is, why have we not found any evidence of such a civilization yet? Why is, unless there's I mean, obviously I don't, you know, governments would happily cover that up, but why is there nothing major? We don't have any real evidence of Atlantis. There's just stuff where you go, oh, okay, that's feasible, that makes sense, right? Especially to common mind, less academic mind. Like, yeah, right, let's carry on.
According to Hancock, the Hall of Records was built by the survivors of the lost city of Atlantis, who wasted no time in recording the history of the long-lost civilization. 9. Supernatural entities in prehistoric art. Another Hancock's theory that has garnered attention is his research on prehistoric art that suggests supernatural entities. He explores this theory in his book, Supernatural Meetings with the Ancient Teachers of Mankind. In the book,
it's just ancient aliens with extra steps. That's literally just ancient aliens with extra steps. That's all that is. That's all.
Book, he examines the world of cave paintings and questions the existence of the beings represented in the ancient artworks.
Right, okay. The issue with this is, you're looking at a group of people, even, like, especially, like, if you're looking at Germanic and Celtic peoples, they were incredibly superstitious. The casing point of the Gilly-Doo, which is a fairly recent piece of Scottish Gaelic folklore, like, at that point in history, the Gilly-Doo was in the woods, and so they went into the woods to hunt it down because they didn't want any bad luck from this member of the Fae, or the She. So, of course, there's going to be supernatural beings included in their imagery, especially, you know, from including the Mediterranean world, such as Egypt, Greece, and Rome. The issue you're going to have there is, I mean, I'm not discrediting. There may be, you know, I'm very open. I like to push in the search for stuff like Sasquatch and the Yeti and stuff like that. So I'm not saying these creatures couldn't have existed. What I'm saying is, let's carry on. I have a feeling he's going to push for something that isn't, you know. It's gonna be ancient aliens with extra steps.
A human and animal hybrid being prevalent in prehistoric arts.
Oh.
These beings are often linked with shamanic traditions, where spiritual intermediaries enter an altered state of consciousness and interact with the spirit world. Hancock argues that the therianthropes' depictions in ancient artworks are not a coincidence or simply artistic creations. Instead, they are representations of extraterrestrial interactions with humans. He further points out hallucinogenic plants among different...
Oh no! No! Okay, we're doing ancient aliens. Alright, I can debunk ancient aliens with one easy step. An ancient spacefaring civilization comes to the Earth and sees mankind living primitively. Why would they then give us technology? If you're a benevolent species, like maybe you want to uplift them, but then why leave? Like maybe unless there's a cataclysm. But for most, you're going to find that species, and you're then going to go, oh, okay, let's give these people the ability to attack us. Like, at some point, they're going to catch up with technologically. Apparently so, yeah, this is what Graham Hancock thinks. He thinks, I mean, we're getting into the do you know what? This is very much Alex Jones territory. We're getting into the psychedelics. Let's watch the psychedelics.
Whose consumption could have triggered
also, remember
psychoactive
to
effects on
share the live,
ancient
guys.
people. He believes that extraterrestrial entities interacted with humans when using these psychoactive plants because they were in an altered state of consciousness. 8. The global cataclysm.
Getting their money's worth out of these YouTube ads.
This wasn't taken by chance.
I don't care.
A comet hit Earth about 12,800 years ago, leading to a global catastrophic event.
Okay,
As
this
typical of Hancock, he delves into this event, and it is documented in his book, Magicians of the Gods. Hancock opines that the comet
it's just a
strike
rip-off
led
of
to
Chariots
a
of the Gods from
cataclysmic event that
Eric von
destroyed
Daniken.
advanced civilizations at
So
the time
this
and
is-
drastically changed the Earth's climate.
This is very, very much ancient astronauts adjacent. Or ancient aliens adjacent.
This theory is in sync with the Younger
Oh.
Deus boundary,
Oh,
YDB,
no.
impact hypothesis that
Okay.
suggests that a historical cooling event
There! They said hypothesis there! They used the correct terminology there for an actual scientific theory, or hypothesis, that they're using to back up their theory. I don't know, I'm not well versed into it. I could see that happening, like a comet or hit something hitting. But 12,000 years ago, like our civilization is only 10,000 years old, so that's a 2,000 year recovery period. I don't know. It depends the
known
level
as
of
the Younger
advancement
Deus
that he's
was due to
saying,
the
suggesting.
impact of a comet or meteor. From Hancock,
I need
we
to see
learn
the
that this
crater.
period experienced a rapid return to glacial conditions in the northern hemisphere after the last ice age
Okay,
had
that
ended.
that makes
the
sense.
event led to a massive disruption in plants, animals, and human societies.
I mean,
But he
shouldn't
doesn't
be
stop
drinking
here.
because of alcohol.
Advancing
'Cause
the
he
hypothesis
pop.
further,
TikTok.
he describes a catastrophic event where a striking comet hit the Earth, destroying an advanced prehistoric civilization.
Okay, but in that scenario, didn't, like, when the dinosaurs were taken out, we know that there's a possibility, though, I've seen some people suggest the Ice Age, the end of the mammoths and the mastodons, giant ground sloths, all that sort of stuff. Like, as that came to an end, that was partially caused by an asteroid strike, or a meteor strike. I'm not sure of the terminology, I'm not a space person. So, if life took, if after the dinosaurs it took millions of years to recover from that sort of event, surely our civilization, our prehistoric civilization, would take, a few, like, if he said, oh yeah, no, it's happened 300,000 years ago, it makes sense. I'd be like, okay, there's enough time for, like, civilization to recover. So either it would have to be a minimal event, and we would recover very quickly, or it would have to be a big event. Like, 2,000 years recovery period, it seems too short to be a big event, and it seems too slow to be a small event. But it makes sense. Like, something that would just... at least, in Assassin's Creed, the solar flares make sense.
As you can already guess, this is likely the same one linked to his theories on Antarctica, Atlantis, and the Sphinx. According to Hancock, the
Antarctica, well, I'm going to... I do want to do an actual proper video on stuff like Operation... I think it's North Jump. We'll take a
remnants
look at
of
that
this
later.
lost civilization can be found in various ancient sites worldwide, such as Göbekli Tepe in Turkey.
They
This
love
site dates
Göbekli
back to
Tepe. It's also spelled
9600
Göbekli
BC,
Tepe, not
which
Göbelki
coincides
or
with
whatever
the
it
end
is.
of the Younger Days and is characterized by advanced stone architecture and complex carvings.
Yeah.
Hancock also points out that this evidence of knowledge transferred down civilizations. Some part of this theory is based on myths and tales of massive floods across the world. He believes that these flood memories might be a collection of catastrophic events that led to the demise of an ancient civilization. 7. The lost civilization of Antarctica. Hancock has extended the tentacles of his research to one of the coldest regions on the planet, Antarctica. He proposed a theory on what happened to this.
Ducracy? Ducracy? I think that's your name. I apologize if I've mispronounced it. Yeah, they haven't given any evidence whatsoever so far. They've said, this is our idea, this is what we think happened. I'm very curious what they're going to say about ancient civilization in Antarctica. Because I've seen a lot of conspiracy theories of like the Austrian Painters fan club having a base up there and the Americans fighting them. That's an interesting rabbit hole to go down. I probably won't do it on a lot. I might have a show up my sleeve coming up with a fan favourite trip. So we'll see what might happen in the future, because we're going to go over some very weird history. I might bring this back up to him. I'll just make some notes. But yeah, as far as an ancient civilization, nearly every time I'm shown evidence of that, it's just a very, like, it's a naturally forming mountain range or stuff like that, because people forget that ice, like water, erodes, and it's actually a lot better at it.
Frozen continent. He believes that underneath the ice layers of Antarctica lies the remnant of a long-lost civilization. He explains this theory so elaborately in his book, Fingerprints of the Gods. According to Hancock, there is a strong possibility that Antarctica is the site of the mythical Atlantis city. His theory is based on the idea of Earth's crustal displacement, a geological theory that suggests that the Earth's crust can move over liquid layers beneath. Thus, it can successfully shift the geographical locations of continents. He believes that a historical event occurred 12,000 years ago that shifted the temperate continent of Antarctica to its current polar location. This led to its sudden freezing and encasement in blocks of ice. As expected, this theory didn't sit well with mainstream archaeologists and historians. However,
this is unhinged. This is more unhinged than the psychedelic aliens.
Peary race map, which depicts Antarctica's coastline without ice. He argues that a previous civilization had passed this knowledge down.
Oh, truth almighty, how many adverts on this?
Hey ladies, did you know a man's nose?
I can't believe this. This video is just unhinged. We're 7 minutes in. I don't know. Also, guys, if you do have anything else you want me to react to that's stupid, like even ghost sightings and aliens, we'll do that too tonight as well. Hang on. Here we go. Let's have a look. I've got the actual chat up now. Phil Conshed live, thank you very much. Graham Hancock was definitely a fanboy of Eric von Däniken. He definitely was. I haven't given any actual evidence 100%. Ducray. Okay, thank you. Sorry, I got that. I was overpronouncing it. I was going very, very French with it, wasn't I? Happy early New Year. Happy early New Year to you, Peter Petrov. Here's my fruit juice. You're going to need more alcohol, yeah. This is basically a commercial for his book. 100%.
Atlantis was covered in ice. To everyone who cares to listen, Hancock often describes an advanced ancient civilization on our Earth several millennials ago, which became extinct after being submerged underwater. This theory draws support from mythical tales about a long-lost city passed down across civilizations, and they are still told today. Furthermore, he believes that the survivors of this ancient Atlantis city likely influenced other civilizations, such as Egypt,
I knew it,
and Sumers.
This is just a rebrand of the ancient astronauts hypothesis. Because it's the same stuff. The Egyptians, the Incas. They built pyramids. They must have been influenced by some other power. There is also, if you want to take a deeper look into this, guys, there is a brilliant Mini-Minute Man does a brilliant breakdown of this, and the Law Lodge guys actually have done a video on the breakdown of his Incan stuff. And I will say, right, you should be asking these questions. You should always question the current narrative because we're always learning new things. But it's when you're then very cocksure of your own ideas that you start to, instead of looking for, okay, I have this idea, let's look for evidence of it, you start seeing evidence where there isn't any. And just because multiple civilizations built pyramids doesn't mean that they were all interacting with aliens or an ancient Atlantic civilization that made its way to Antarctica. Or the thing is, if there was a tectonic shift that extreme, there is no way human civilization recuperates in 2,000 years. Maybe there is, I don't know. Maybe there's an academic who could tell me actually that time frame makes sense, but I don't know. Also, thank you so much for sharing the live, guys. Thank you so much. And also, if you haven't subscribed over on YouTube, that's where we're trying to. That's where YouTube pays better than TikTok does.
Of the ancient monuments worldwide is proof of the astronomical development of the lost city of Atlantis before it became known as Antarctica. 6. The mystery of the pyramids of Egypt. Graham Hancock got called out again when he postulated an unconventional theory about the pyramids of Egypt, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza. Contrary to the widely accepted theories of historians and Egyptologists, Hancock believes that the pyramids are much older than we believe. According to Hancock, we shouldn't credit the construction of the pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, to the ancient Egyptians of the 4th dynasty.
All right, okay, I'm understanding now. I obviously paused earlier. A lot of oftentimes people that do the ancient astronaut stuff, the ancient apocalypse stuff, are very heavily accused of racism, and I can see why. I also think that's a very negative argument to have because you'll never someone who's listening to this and like doesn't know much on the topic is then going is if you come at them with that accusation that they believe it because of racism, they're going to ignore you. They're not going to listen to your points back. I think I understand where that idea comes from, where that belief of like, because it is by discrediting the ancient Egyptians, you are discrediting an entire group of people. You know, I'm not going to make the Netflix Cleopatra joke of discrediting and changing history to your narrative, but this is the same on the same vein as Netflix Cleopatra stuff. It's changing history and altering history to fit your narrative. It goes back to what I was saying. He's looking at stuff from his lens of, I think this is idea, I'm looking directly for stuff that backs it up instead of trying to test it. So, I see this bit of evidence, okay, can we test it against what we know? Here's a tablet from a different culture and empire, and da-da-da-da-da. So it doesn't seem to be cross-referencing. I think he's seeing what he wants to see. Yeah, it's this... Yeah, so I get where like the racism accusations come from, but I think it's equally as dangerous to come at people who believe this stuff with that action because you're not going to discredit Graham Hancock like that. Keep going to say Matt Hancock. They are equally as full of it.
He believes that there is no way the Egyptians could have built the pyramids around 2600 BC.
Why not?
You would agree that this is a
explain
provoking
to me.
opinion.
Yeah, explain
when
to me
Hancock
how.
First postulated his theory, the question on everyone's mind was, where is the evidence to back his claim?
And another actor! They're making their money's worth out of this, aren't they? Right, so where's the evidence?
In response, he argues that the ancient Egyptians couldn't have achieved the top-notch precision and astronomical alignments of the pyramids. He believes the Egyptians didn't have the technological advancement to construct such architectural masterpieces. From his point of view, the design, construction, and geological alignment of the pyramids are proof that a much more advanced civilization made them. In Hancock's view, this civilization existed thousands of years before the ancient Egyptians, and they left behind the pyramids, which...
We have documentation from the ancient Egyptians of them building the pyramids, of the pharaohs who authorized the building of the pyramids. Why would they document that? Like, and this isn't propaganda pieces. Why would they document that lie? Because people would see the pyramids are already there. And it's not, you're not shoring up your power base, because if you're shoring up your power base, you're doing it in a current system, around current people who are around you. And I'm coming at this very much like, again, Minuteman is much better at this because he does archaeology and stuff. I'm coming at this from a layman's turn a layman's like terminology, like way of looking at it. You're not going to shore up your power bases by pretending to future generations that you built the pyramid, because you're going to be, you know, unalive, passed on. It could work for your later generations trying to shore up and say, look, my ancestor built the pyramid. But that's such a level of fabrication. Pardon me. And we can carbon date the documents. So it falls down so easily. We know the Egyptians built the pyramids. I can understand why he's sitting there going like, oh, but, you know, they didn't have diggers and they didn't have cranes and stuff. Now they just have very good mathematics. And they were able to work around the technology of their day. They didn't have anti-gravity planks, as I've seen people put, the ancient astronaut people put forward. They couldn't do it rednecks on YouTube figuring out how it was done. They're acting like the Egyptians are pulling in India with the Proto-Indo-European War that didn't happen. Yeah. The Finno-Korean Hyper War is what they're going for.
The Egyptians inherited and received credit for. Have you begun to doubt your history lessons? Wait,
no.
Hancock isn't done yet, as he comes with another dicey piece of evidence. The geographical location of the pyramids has cosmological significance because the monuments are located at the exact position of Earth's land masses. Do you consider this a coincidence? Hancock doesn't. He believes there is a correlation between the location of the pyramids and those who built them. Furthermore, he brings to light that the pyramids' measurements correlate with astronomical constants, such as the speed of light. We might have to agree with Hancock on this one because this is a mystery that we cannot explain. In addition, Hancock
you didn't
is
explain
against
the
notion
idea.
that the pyramids were merely tombs for pharaohs. He believes that the monuments had more purpose than we know of, but it is possible that they served a spiritual or metaphysical function. 5. The Lost City of Atlantis. The Lost City
Exactly.
of
What does that
Atlantis is a
even
tale
mean?
that
It doesn't
has
make
been
sense.
told for centuries. It started with Plato, who spoke about a lost civilization that existed 9,000 years before
See, the
his
Atlantis
time.
stuff is
This
like it make
mysterious
right.
city-
I'll go through what me and Aiden, Aiden and I spoke about on the multiple. You can go back and watch him. He does put forward a convincing argument in that a advanced civilization for the time, advanced in the Bronze Age, bearing in mind like the technological level at the time, for someone who's a bit ahead, like their city does sink or suffers like a massive earthquake and goes under. Then they flee to the hills and then they try and rebuild somewhat, and a lot of the information's lost. That sort of Atlantis I can understand and get behind. Hyper advanced Isu Atlantis with Juno and all that running around, trying to stop Desmond, trying to use Desmond to bring her back. No. It works in Assassin's Creed, but we would see more evidence of this. I just, because the one thing, as Ducray pointed out, where is the evidence? They've put forward a lot of ideas, a lot of very out there ideas, and not one piece of evidence. So it feels like they're just listing his ideas. I don't know if he had. I would probably have to look at the Netflix videos for that, and I'd definitely get a copyright claim. But every idea they put forward, they've not, they've said why he thinks that, and then they've not explained the evidence for it. It's almost like there isn't any. They're literally sitting there going like, oh, we had this idea, and this makes sense because we saw a pretty picture of a ghost. Spoon on YouTube says, History Daddy, my favourite moustache British daddy. Thank you very much, Spoon. From the TikTok chat, we've got Improv Dude saying you're a brave man. Watching this, I am. I'm drinking to get through it. I can't wait for the Pharaohs. Also played card games with the monsters from the Shadow Realm. Isn't that basically the plot for what was that really awful Ancient Egypt remake that happened recently? I can't remember. Certainly that makes more sense than half of what Graham Hancock says. Yeah. True, just want my dark magician girlfriend to be real, bro. Brilliant Yu-Gi-Oh! Pot. Is it a pot of Yu-Gi-Oh? I have friends who like Yu-Gi-Oh! They'll be very upset to know I got that wrong.
He has also grabbed Hancock's attention, and he has devoted his time
Did
researching.
they just play a video of an irrigation system?
mysterious city has
It is! They're aqueducts and bridges! No!
also grabbed Hancock's attention, and he has...
No! Their entire idea... Their entire idea for Atlantis sinking is an irrigation. I don't know if... I mean, that seems what they're implying. Okay.
has devoted his time researching the city through the lens of ancient philosophers and based on his interpretation of archaeological evidence.
Thanks for sharing the live, guys.
He developed a theory that has stirred up debates in recent years. As usual, Hancock postulates an unconventional theory about the existence, location, and demise of this long-lost civilization.
Okay, explain.
Although many scientists considered Plato's description of Atlantis an allegory,
That's an AI
Hancock
Atlantis.
is towing the opposite direction.
Wait.
He
Sorry, that was
description of Atlantis and civilization. Although many scientists considered Plato's description of Atlantis an allegory, Hancock is towing the opposite direction.
See, Plato also was actually, to my knowledge, was taking the story from... He took a lot of story... Like, Plato's allegory of the cave is actually Socrates' allegory of the cave. Plato was also absolutely, completely screwed over by Diogenes. But when a man is a featherless biped, which I greatly recommend my Diogenes video, little self-plug. My deep issue we're getting here is, like, yeah, you can take it on a literal sense, but again... The technological level you're suggesting Atlantis had at that time would make it a global superpower, unless there was multiple civilizations on that scale, which means to destroy that civilization, the event would have to be so catastrophic that it would possibly take millions of years to fix it. I'm fairly certain in Assassin's Creed, the Isu are like a good few million years ago. Like, it takes humanity a long time. Correct, if there's Assassin's Creed buffs in the chat, I was going to make my Assassin's Creed shirt later, but if there's any Assassin's Creed buffs in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong. I play my trap card, Ancient Apocalypse. I play false information on attack mode. Diogenes was has mega uncle at Christmas dinner energy. I stopped off Black Flag. I think they cover it. I think it's like Assassin's Creed 3. They really get into it. Odysseys. I like Odyssey because it's set in ancient Greece. However, the Isu portions of the game are trash.
He believes that Plato's description of the mythical Atlantis civilization is a factual report of a prehistoric advanced civilization. This theory is better explained in his book, Fingerprints of the Gods, where he suggests that the city of Atlantis was located in present-day Antarctica. He believes that the icy continent was once a temperate land before a cataclysmic event, most likely a shift in the Earth's crust that caused it to move from its polar position, resulting in freezing and disappearance between layers of life. Thus, this was how Atlantis was.
Steve says, Hancock goes places and said they want you to think it's this, but actually it's that. Over and over. I once got trapped at a party with a flat earther and a very... Flat earthers are in a hinge. I love talking to flat earthers. My favourite thing, they're on Twitter... or formerly Twitter, now X, because Elon Musk is going through his emo phase. There's an account called the Dinosaur Earth Theory, and it's the one time I'll allow the use of the word theory incorrectly because it's hilarious. Bring up a flat earther and then just go up to him like, here's a picture of Dinosaur Earth. It's literally just a velociraptor shaped into, like, photoshopped with a map of the Earth over it, and it's hilarious. They look, whoa, that doesn't make sense. How's that possible? Your flat earthers sit there and talk about, like, Agartha, and also nearly every time I talk to a flat earther, they also have a certain political opinion. Cough, cough. It begins with an N and ends in an I. The magical fruit juice is taking effect. Let's not go on to that before I get banned from both TikTok and YouTube.
Was lost to history. One of the pieces of evidence that this theory rests on is the Peary Race Map, a 16th century map of the world that appears to show the northern part of Antarctica.
You can't use a 16th century map as your evidence. That's like me taking an old math test and saying, aha, I got all the answers wrong, and here's the new improved one where I got them right. Let's use this as the evidence. Like, old school, I've always grown up, like, drawing maps and drawing fantasy maps. I used to be very well versed in the history of like cartography. Early maps until like the 19th and the 20th, from the 19th, even then, so like the 20th to the 21st century, that's when your maps are getting really accurate, because people were busy building empires and they needed to actually look at all the spice they were stealing from indigenous people. So that, like, maps weren't accurate. Like, the old maps we have of North America that the Spanish drew up and the Portuguese drew up have California as an island, which has conspiracy theorists obsessed with the idea that there, that it was an island and somehow they dammed it up. Sure. I suppose they would say that it was a massive tectonic shift that humanity recovered from in just 2,000 years. So it takes us 300,000 years to build a civilization, but we can recover from a massive tectonic shift that moves Antarctica in 2,000 years. But, like, yeah, these maps were notoriously inaccurate, where people were seeing islands and going, okay, that's enough sailing for this year, I want to go back and pork my missus. So, like, there's so many islands that were drawn up as continents because they were guessing the rest of it. Like, the math wasn't exact at that point. Here we go. Well, we go on TikTok. A couple of comments. The Isu was several millennia before the rise of ancient human civilization. Just got to ignore how the ancient Athens were what the Spartans were at this time. Exactly. Ancient Athens was considered an advanced civilization. The Spartans today are regarded as incredibly progressive society. The women were used to churn out soldiers, but they had a lot higher standing than they did in, say, Athens. So I also get annoyed when people try and use the Spartans as a progressive society, because it progresses for its time. It's relativity with our modern day. It's advanced for its time. It's progressive for its time. You're not going to have a society with true equality between men and women in 326 BCE or BC, whichever one you want to use. Like, people get mad at me for using either of them. But yeah, according to the wiki, the Isu ruled roughly 77,000 years ago. So that makes sense for a destruction of a society, because then you've got a good 50,000 years of recovery time, right? And that's solar flares, so it's the society that collapses. It's not an ecological thing. Tectonic shift on this level is not something civilization can recover from in 2,000 years. Because he's saying it was, this happened 12,700 years ago, whenever. And then our civilization, there's multiple points of contention. So you have the Mesopotamia, or Middle East, that's where cradle of civilization. Then you have one in China, then there's one in Africa, and then there's one in South America and Central America. Right, and there might be a couple more. So there's multiple cradles of civilization. Right, and the earliest, I believe, is around 10,000 years ago. Again, I may be wrong on that. Obviously, double check on research in your own time. So 2,000 years to recover and even create a basic civilization. It seems too quick for me. Pardon me. Sorry, the fizz is really getting to me. Paul Spencer, to be a failed racism thing, this concept was originally postulated by the Austrian Painters Fan Club, which is why it gets said so often. That's fair. I didn't. That's a fair assessment. Especially, yes, with the flat Earth stuff, especially, like the Agartha and the Hyperboreans, the true Aryan race, because you know the white people are aliens somehow. I prefer the stabbing part of Assassin's Creed, so I had to wiki it. Yes, fair play. The story confuses me now. Yeah, the story's the Valhalla. I'm trying to get it through slowly whenever I get time. Ever heard of the Kingdom of Nauru? I haven't, but we're about to look it up. Don't like where this is going. Please don't let this be something that's going to get me banned. It's going to be about a load of fascism, isn't it? Kingdom of Nauru. Public Nauru is formerly known as the Pleasant Island, microstate in Micronesia. History of Nauru is an island annexed by Germany in 1888. Oh no, that's Wikipedia. Nauru country brief. Nauru travel advice. Look at the Telegraph. I don't normally like the Telegraph. It's just the opposite version of the Daily Mail. Remote island is answered one at Worlds, but of course here is a few things to know about Nauru. Not sorry. Continue reading this article. God damn it. Back is nice. European Union and narrow. Okay. Yes, it's gonna be Wikipedia. Because everyone else wants to pay. Flag of narrow responds the 12 original tribes that inherited the country. That is interesting. I will put that onto my list of potential YouTube videos. That is interesting. I love these little these island nations that have propped up and are continuously a thorn for European governments with their independence movements. Like Macron went to one of his little colonies that still exist, even though the French claim to not have any colonies anymore. And they're like very much for independence, and he went to visit them to like shore up support, and they did absolutely naff all. And every time they like lose the vote, it's really suspicious about how many people voted. I'm not going to get into it because it's politics. And I try to avoid politics on this channel. Sorry, what's that Call Me Chris video? The most sickening, hugging cult in history, the children of God. We're not going to look into that.
Unknown till modern seismic surveys.
Okay.
Hancock doesn't stop here.
Another advert! Another advert! It's true, almighty.
He has connected the story of Atlantis.
The amount of adverts is telling me it's very sensationalist. Because you can pick when you play these adverts.
From that catastrophe, and these persons
the Romans.
dispersed to different areas of the world to start a new life. As expected, these survivors took with them advanced knowledge,
I was going to
which
say
they
the
infused
Athens
into the
was
architecture and meteorology of ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians, Mayans, and Sumerians. Hancock argues that the sudden
Sumerians weren't that advanced. Everyone's obsessed with Sumerians. There's a reason their civilization was like that big.
Into their culture, which can be traced back to the survivors of Atlantis. Hancock's theory is still not accepted in academic circles,
Yeah, I
as
wonder
it has
why.
been subject to several controversies and debates. Nevertheless, this theory is stealthily rewriting some historical accounts.
No,
and
it's
forced
not.
many to question the traditional narrative
No,
of
it's
chronological
not.
human history. 4. Ancient civilizations and extraterrestrials.
We got to the aliens, guys. We've got to the aliens.
Investigating ancient civilizations, Hancock decided to extend his research to potential extraterrestrial influences on Earth. For a long time, scientists and philosophers have toyed with the idea of extraterrestrial life existing somewhere in the universe that we don't know of. Hancock seems to have also towed this path.
If you've noticed, if you guys have watched along with me, if you notice, what they do is they put something credible, like scientists have toyed and philosophers have toyed with the idea of extraterrestrial life, which is a true thing. We have the Fermi paradox. It's a very interesting idea. This has been discussed over and over again. And then the second they bring up the scientific discussion, they then bring in their idea. Which they use the legitimate discussion to raise up their idea. And again, these discussions should be had. We should be discussing and looking at our history because history is often written by the victors. But you need evidence to back it up. And the issue is Hancock, again, they're both full of BS, so it works. Graham Hancock, like, I haven't seen a lot of his interviews, but he seems to go on stuff like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's a great interviewer. He can get stuff out of people. But he doesn't challenge people enough. I think Graham Hancock, like, is a less funny Alex Jones. I love Alex Jones. I love watching Alex Jones. He's hilarious. He's scarily right on a couple of things. But specifically the making the frogs gay, look that up. It's just funny to me that actually turned out to be true because of like some pollution stuff. But 99% of the time you watch him because he's hilariously wrong, and he should be Hancock should be seen in the same light as Alex Jones. Hilariously wrong. It's just Hancock takes himself seriously, whereas Alex Jones starts screaming about gay frogs, and that's funny to me. Yeah. I just can't understand how this is... Again, I say, you should have these discussions, but you shouldn't then assume you're right. Assuming makes an arse out of you and me. Paul Spencer, I'm fairly sure that the sister site to Göbekli Tepe is around 12,800 years old. The current working theory is that the region built Unlike today, the confluence of an ancient river system, meaning that despite them being hunter-gatherers, they had an excess of food and resources, giving them the extra people free to build things like megastructures. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense than surviving Atlanteans built a secret library. I stopped after Rogue, and I just recently played Unity. Unity is an awful game. Awful game. The Ukrainians downstairs gave me traditional Ukrainian food. Let's go. Nice, nice. Ukrainian food's quite nice. Yeah, make sure to share the live on both YouTube and TikTok. Greatly helps in the algorithm.
Beings. Instead, he has asked some interesting questions about ancient knowledge and technologies.
No, he hasn't.
And if we are to read the handwriting on the wall correctly, he is suggesting that there is more to what conventional history has taught us. Hancock is taking us back to re-examine the technological leap of ancient civilizations like the Egyptians and Mayans, and this exploration questions the knowledge advancement of these ancient cities. According to Hancock, there is no linear...
I am starting to really notice, as this goes on, that it is... Let's question the technological leap of the brown people. That's what this is getting at. To me, as this is going on. Again, I stand by my, like, if people believe in this genuinely, you can't come at them with this is a racist idea, because they will just shut down. They're going to not acknowledge you. It's the same with flat earthers. It's the same. It's the same with vaccines cause autism people. You can't come at them with a attack of prejudice, because they won't. They will assume that you're attacking them, and you have to dig in and go, no, look at the evidence from my side. And this is why some people believe that. Like, but I'm really starting to see, from Hancock's perspective, it's just weird to me that, like, Stonehenge, like, I will admit, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I was very deep in the ancient aliens scene. And we was obsessed with stuff like Stonehenge being a landing point for UFOs and that. Right? Why has that stuff not been mentioned? And I would love to ask him what he thinks Atlanteans look like. I have a funny feeling I would know. Here's a conspiracy theory for you, from Steve. Here's a conspiracy theory for you all. For you all, one that may explain how Netflix gave the green light to this bullshit. Netflix senior manager is manager of unscripted originals is Hancock's son. Is he Is he actually? See, again, I think Netflix is just running against History Channel. Like, History Channel has been busy going, nearly said it, got banned from TikTok there. The Austrian painter, he was in with, I mean, there was a lot of occult and satanic stuff going on with the Austrian painters stuff. We have evidence for that. I'm not saying it worked. I'm just saying that they were into a lot of satanic stuff, although the Austrian painters fan club being into Satanism doesn't, it surprised me. But all the Austrian painters fan club had access to extraterrestrial technology, and they were using it to win the war. That's why they only invented the jet fighter just before they lost. Although I do, can I get away with saying it once? Although I do find the Nazi bill an interesting idea, because the Americans covered that one up, and they covered all the paperwork for it up. When the American or the British government covers something up, it's because they were trying to use it. Ironically, he's probably kind of right in the idea that human history is far longer than we currently understand, but all the random fluff in the fact, yes, human clever species. Again, 100%. If you turn around to me and said, look, I think there's an ancient civilization that was destroyed 70,000, 80,000 years ago, I would say, cool, brilliant. I like the idea. I kind of see it because of the time span makes sense. I now need you to show me evidence, because we know for a fact with the current metals we use that our civilization, there will still be evidence for it on some level, like the roads and like the way stuff looks. I think someone said at most 100,000 years ago, like later. There would be some evidence of our civilization a good 2 or 3 million years later. So what I would need from you in that case is, okay, I need you to show me roads. I need you to show me, because if they're more advanced than we are now, is what I've seen some Graham Hancock people say, I need you to show me evidence of skyscrapers, of military technology. Not dragons. Not, this ghost in this painting, this ghost in this painting from ancient Greece. This statue kind of looks a bit like a spaceman. I need something. He's asking the right questions, as Paul brought up. He's asking the right questions. Our history is almost certainly longer. In fact, very recently they found evidence of a massive battle in Germany that happened, I believe it was 5,000 or 7,000 years ago. I could be wrong on that. Right? Which means that we were having very large-scale battles a hell of a lot earlier than we previously thought. It's that big. That's a big discovery, and that makes sense to me. Do I think that we spent a lot of time stagnating on technology? Yeah, we're doing it now. Technology between the 50s and 2000s was went off at a rapid rate of knots, and all the conspiracy theories thought we were getting it from aliens then. But from 2000 to now, our technology is slowed to a snail's pace. We're not advancing that fast, and where we are advancing that fast is AI, which Elon Musk said not to do, and now he's doing it himself. AI is an entirely different subject. That I'm not educated in enough to actually give solid answers for. Graham's son works for Netflix. Yes, okay, this makes a lot of sense now. Yeah, I going back to my first point that I went on a tangent from. I do kind of think that Netflix and History Channel were fighting each other. Like History Channel was going on against the Austrian Painters Fan Club and Ancient Aliens, and Netflix is doing Cleopatra was black. The spacemen built the pyramids, but we also took psychedelics to see them. Although stone date theory is a fun rabbit hole to go down, and I like stone date hypothesis rather. Sorry, it's a fun rabbit hole to go down. I don't recommend it as scientific reading, but if you want to look at stuff and question it, stone date theory is very interesting. It's psychedelics triggered stuff in our brains, and it's basically monkeys eat shrooms and they got intelligent, it's an interesting. I don't know how viable it is. I don't think it's that viable, but there's a part of me that thinks that maybe it could, have triggered like smashing rocks together and getting fire stuff. But yeah, all of this stuff should be taken with such a pinch of salt, and when someone is telling it to you, they should be able to back it up, or they should be telling you to go and look on your own. And the issue is people like you and me. I have a university degree, so I can have a rough idea of how to research. People like Aidan Mattis and Mini Minuteman, who had studied in these fields, can research 100% effectively because they know where to look for sources. They have access and networks into these libraries, so they can effectively research this. We haven't been given evidence by the people who made this video. They're just blindly repeating what Hancock says, putting it next to a proper scientific theory and going, look, this is an idea. Are you questioning your history yet? No, I'm not. This is reaffirming a lot of history for me. Because none of what he said has made sense, and if you're going to have a nonsensical claim, you need big evidence to back it up.
Explanation for the technological advancement experienced in some of these ancient civilizations.
Thanks for sharing the live, guys.
What fascinates Hancock is the sudden appearance of architectural and astronomical developments in those societies, such as the precise construction of the Egyptian pyramids and the sophisticated observatories of the Mayans. He argues that these developments and knowledge seem out of place in these eras, meaning they received help from somewhere. He explores this question further in his book.
What about the Athenians? Did he say Athenians? What was it? Just what about the Athenians, my guy?
Precise construction of the Egyptian pyramids and the sophisticated is the sudden appearance of architectural and astronomical developments in those societies, such as the precise construction of the Egyptian pyramids and the sophisticated observatories of the Mayans.
What about the Parthenon?
These developments and knowledge seem out of place in these eras, meaning they received help from somewhere. He explores this question further in his book, Supernatural Meetings with the Ancient Teachers of Mankind, where he suggests that the rapid advancement of ancient civilizations could be due to contact with otherworldly beings. Now you probably
This is literally an Alex Jones video. This is Alex Jones going on about machine elves. This is an Alex Jones video. No. No.
To sound like a fairy tale, but Hancock believes there might be some truth in it. He
Yeah, because
explains
it's his
this theory
idea.
further by saying that this out-of-the-world contact may have occurred through altered states of mind, possibly induced by the consumption of psychoactive plants.
Which
He
ones?
cites the prevalence of similar motifs in the ancient arts across different cultures, such as therianthropes, which are
There is in biology, there's or paleontology rather, there's something called convergent evolution, where different groups of animals will involve similar teeth, similar paws, similar body shapes. An idea of this is when you watch a lot of sci-fi, such as Star Trek or Star Wars, you go around the galaxy and everyone's a humanoid shape. When we did where there was an old project to make what a dinosaur would look like if it had an intelligent species that had taken over the Earth, and we made it very humanoid. Right, so like, because in our brains we see our niches, like where we are, how we've evolved, how we look, as the effective like way to run a civilization. So like, you know, so we see that as convergent idea, like everything across the galaxy is going to look fairly similar. It's very rare that science fiction actually covers this properly and shows it very different, because they're always kind of humanoid. The issue with that is it's almost certainly not, because the atmospheres and the habitats these things would evolve in would be so aggressively different. Now, the reason I bring this up is because convergent evolution also happens in cultures. So cultures can do things and adapt to things the exact same. So if you're in a habitat where a lot of the people around you are passing away, a lot of your imagery is going to involve skulls and death. Right? The idea of dragons comes across the world. It's almost like we all came out of Africa and at some point we were sharing ideas. There's actually a very interesting hypothesis that modern day fantasy dwarves are based off of our encounters with Neanderthals, which actually does make a lot of sense when you get into it. Right? Like, all stories have an origin somewhere, yeah, you just have to take a lot of fantasy elements out. So it's just, like... It's agitating, because like, people can come up with the same idea. Do you know how many people come up with the same idea for the same film and have to go up against each other? Charles Darwin, the man who created the current running theory of evolution, had to go to court because someone else came up with the idea at the same time. Pardon me. So it's not out of the question that these cultures would come up with the same stuff. Well, let's have a look at a few more comments. Right. He built some incredible things before we currently understand. Gurung Pandong was actually an ancient volcano that people did build into a temple, probably older than we currently understand, but it's nowhere near as old as he claims. No cultural layer was discovered at the depth that he dates in the Netflix series. That he says in the Netflix series. Critical thinking needs to be taught at schools. Very much agree. Much more important than logarithms and algebra, which I've used exactly once outside of education. It's far more comprehensive. Schools in far more comprehensive manner. If it was people like him, he would be suddenly demoted to random crazies. The Stone Dope Theory, yeah, no, Stone Dope Theory is hilarious, but it's a rabbit hole I encourage everyone to go down, because that is a brilliant test of your critical thinking. In theory, shapeshifters in Star Trek DS9 would be far more effective than our form. Very true. Shapeshifters in any society is far more effective, because you can fit to any environment. Thank you for sharing live on TikTok, guys.
Part human, part animals as evidence of these encounters. He believes these motifs are not mere coincidences, but likely documentation of encounters with supernatural beings such as gods, spirits, and extraterrestrials.
Another advert.
Factions, empires, gods.
I don't care.
They rise.
That advert was made more sense than this video has.
Terrestrial beings. Number 3. The Ark of the Covenant's hidden secrets.
Oh no.
Hancock's inquisitiveness.
Oh no, we're not doing the Ark of the Covenant.
As he has shifted his research lens to uncover some hidden secrets that died with history. One such account is the Ark of the Covenant, recorded in the Bible. This research is documented in his book, The Sign and the Seal. The Ark of the Covenant is a gold-plated ancient artifact that housed the 2 stone tablets of the 10 Commandments. Based on biblical narration, the Ark of the Covenant was lost when the Babylonians invaded Jerusalem and the Jews' holy temple in 587
that's going
BC.
to make some
But
interesting comments.
Hancock has a different opinion on what happened to the Ark of the Covenant. He believes that this ancient Jewish artifact wasn't lost, as many assume. Instead, the Ark of the Covenant was taken from the Holy Temple built by Solomon and brought to Ethiopia for safekeeping before the Babylonians invaded.
The Ark of the Covenant was real, and it's anywhere. It's currently hidden deep under Temple Mount, or it's in the Vatican archives. That's like 100%. I bet it's on the Vatican archives because they love to put stuff away there. Now, if I could get anywhere in the world, I'd love to go break into, well, not break into, but like get access to the Vatican archives and like deep in. Nobody clip that. Nobody clip me saying deep into the Vatican archives. There's such a long history of pyramid building in Egypt that it shows they improved over time. Yes, exactly. We have the physical evidence that goes against what he's saying. That if he used Google for 4.5 minutes, he would understand. Like, even Wikipedia would verify that. And if you get annoyed at using Wikipedia, you just go to the sources at the bottom of the page and you look that up individually. Although Wikipedia is, again, not reliable. That's why I say look at the sources at the end. Or if you really want to use an encyclopedia, look at Britannica. Britannica is at least, you can source it. You're not going to be able to use it for your master's degree, but, it's still sourceable. If it seems out of place, it's because you haven't looked into it at all. Very true. How the saying goes, looking at the trees but ignoring the forest. Exactly. I'd be shocked if the Vatican didn't have it. Agreed. Yeah, it's one of two places. Either very deep under Temple Mount, or it's in the Vatican archives.
Jerusalem. If this theory is true, the ancient Jews made a genius move to preserve their artifact. Hancock came about this theory after studying several historical and religious texts and cultural stories.
Also, wait, can we just take a moment for the fact that we've done the how did the Egyptians and the Mayans get all this technology? So, guys, do you want to talk about the Jews? I'm just saying this has got so unhinged.
Especially from Ethiopia's Christian tradition.
Again, please no one clip.
Revelation, Hancock says that the Ark of
There's
the
too many
Covenant
clip
has been
I shouldn't have done this
preserved over
without
several centuries and is housed in a chapel in the small town of Axum in northern Ethiopia.
Still kind of drunk from last night, my birthday celebration.
Who isn't allowed to leave the chapel's grounds, and he is the only one permitted to see the Ark of the Covenant.
Wait, say that again?
Leave the chapel's grounds centuries and is housed in a chapel.
Wait, hang on, wait, was that photoshopped?
That the Ark of the
That's a
Covenant has been
photoshopped
preserved
image
over several centuries and is housed in a chapel in the small town of Axum in northern Ethiopia. The Ark is believed to be guarded by a monk who isn't allowed to leave the chapel's grounds, and he is the only one permitted to see the Ark of the Covenant.
This sounds
So
like a
as it
Hollywood
stands,
movie
Hancock's
plot.
claims cannot be proved because no one else can see the Ark of the Covenant. Nevertheless,
Oh, how
local
convenient.
devotees strongly believe in the Ark's presence inside the chapel. Ordinarily, we would think the story ends here, but it doesn't. Hancock further postulates that there is more to the Ark than we know. He suggests that the Ark of the Covenant was an ancient technological device that could...
This is literally blasphemy. This is literally blasphemy. Oh no! Okay, so oh. Can I take back what I said earlier? Can I take back my trying to defend the crazy people who believe this? Oh no.
Could have been an electrical capacitor capable of storing an electrical charge. This theory is based on the Ark's design as described in the Bible, which resembles that of a capacitor. Suppose this theory is true, it would mean that the Ark was a technological device. In essence, this would mean that the ancient Jews were an advanced civilization.
Oh my no! What? We didn't know! If anyone, like the Jewish people have been oppressed by every single nation on the planet, pretty much, and they have meticulous records of their history. So why at no point does it mention that they were a hyper-civilized... This was very anti-Semitic to me. So he's ripped off Ancient Aliens. Yeah, he has. He literally has. He's taken Ancient Aliens and added drugs. That's basically it.
Number 2, sacred geometry theory.
Oh,
Hancock
no.
also sparked debates with his sacred geometry theory.
Sacred geometry theory is just
based on the belief that certain
sacred geometry theory is just magic crystals for conspiracy bros. Like, everyone knows the girl that's got, like, loads of crystals, and they got loads of crystals, right? And then, like, they're looking at their horoscope every day. Sacred geometry theory is just that, but for conspiracy bros. And if you've met a conspiracy bro, you know I'm spot on. Wolfgang's over on YouTube. Oh dear, I just popped on, and I already feel the need for a tinfoil hat. Well, I've been drinking. Luckily, I'm only on one bottle. Because I was drinking a lot last night, and I've got some mead downstairs for celebrations with the family, so I don't want to get too drunk. But this is been testing my sanity. So, yeah.
Geometrical shapes and patterns possess sacred or spiritual significance. Hancock proposes that these civilizations had an understanding of sacred geometry and utilized it to their benefit. His evidence resides in the architectural designs and artworks whose remains can be found in certain historical sites worldwide. Furthermore, he believes that this knowledge had a significant impact on human consciousness and spiritual development. Hancock's theory is founded on the hypothesis that specific shapes and patterns.
Another advert. Discovering the Wizarding World with soap. No, thank you.
Align with the fundamental energies of the cosmos. The ancient civilizations integrated these forms into their structures to align themselves with these cosmic energies. Thus, they could deepen their spiritual development by altering consciousness and facilitating spiritual experiences. Examples of these structures are the pyramids of Giza, the Temple of Luxor in Egypt, and Stonehenge of England. Hancock believes that the
we finally got a white civilization that discussed. Finally, whoa! So this has taken him a while to apply that brush of how did they do this equally. We're 1 second off 18 minutes into the video, and we've just mentioned Stonehenge. Okay, I'm starting to understand the accusations of racism in this now. This really feels like, hey, the Egyptians and the Mayans couldn't, like, possibly have done this on their own. Oh, sugar. Also, Stonehenge. 18 minutes
alignment, proportions, and geometric
what was that
patterns
shape
in these ancient structures are proof of an understanding of sacred geometry. This means that many prehistoric and ancient civilizations are more advanced than we give them credit for. Like his other theories, sacred geometry and its correlation with ancient civilizations challenge
the different civilizations being more advanced than we give them credit for. Yeah, that makes sense. That's that kind of a sensible idea. Like the Romans had better concrete than us, sort of stuff. That makes sense on its own. It's the most sensible thing that they've actually said so far. To be fair, it's a genuine claim by said monastery. However, it is likely been said to bring people in pilgrimage rather than anything else. Very true.
Counts. Lastly, Hancock expressly links this hypothesis with his theory on a prehistoric lost civilization and how the knowledge of sacred geometry was passed down through civilization.
So close to saying something normal
the
there.
Sphinx and the Age of Leo.
Oh no.
The Sphinx is one of the significant monuments that serve as a testament to the superior architectural capabilities of ancient Egypt. This monument hasn't escaped Graham Hancock's research and diverging theories. Hancock has spent time studying this giant statue on the plains of Egypt. Working together with Robert Bauval, Hancock puts forward a controversial theory about the age and purpose of the Sphinx. This theory goes against traditional Egyptology. Many academic articles credit the construction of the Sphinx to the ancient Egyptians.
So there is a grand geometrician of the universe, yeah. God's just sitting there like, I make funny shapes. Like, oh, I can't believe this. It's unreal. Oh dear.
Sometime in 2500 BC. However, Hancock's theory challenges this widely accepted notion, arguing that the Sphinx is much older. He believes that the monument was built during the age of Leo, which is approximately 12,500 years ago.
He loves
You would
that number,
agree
doesn't
that
he?
this is a very long time. He establishes this theory
No, it's not.
based on the precession cycle of the Earth, which results in the precession of the equinoxes. This is a cycle of about 26,000 years, where different constellations appeared to rise just before the sun on the spring of equinox.
No.
Hancock comes up with the unconventional argument that the Sphinx was designed and constructed
It's literally the plot of Dark Crystal with all the planets aligning.
to gaze at the constellation of Leo in the pre-dawn sky of the spring equinox, which marks the age of Leo. Since the last age of Leo occurred about 12,500 years ago, Hancock believes that Egyptologists are wrong in their prediction of the Sphinx's age.
The people who study ancient Egypt are wrong about Egypt? Okay, Mr. I'm a journalist and my son works at Netflix.
Another supporting beam of this theory is geographical evidence, where Hancock examines the severe erosion on the body of the Sphinx. He argues that the erosion is due to thousands of years of rainfall. Over time, many have tilted towards Hancock's theory.
No,
Given
they
the
have
period of
not!
Significant rainfall in the region occurred around the end of the Ice Age, about 10,000 to 12,000 years ago.
Again, that's another tactic for them to validate the claim. That's another tactic to validate the claim. Many people have adopted this. Which people? The people who didn't understand it to begin with, and it was very easy to convince of your ideas. Those people. The 12-year-olds that are watching this. That was when I was into all this stuff. I was like 12 and 15. Right? I can't believe this. The rebuilding of the Avery Stone Circle is an archaeological... by an archaeologist back in the 1800s demonstrates extremely well exactly how they built the circles. Pardon me. 10 men, a big tree squared off, and a fulcrum. Exactly. I'm fairly certain we know roughly how they built Stonehenge as well. Like specifically Stonehenge. And how they got the stones from Wales. It's the Great Flood Date 12. Yeah, exactly. He's obsessed with this idea. But he doesn't give the evidence for the base idea. So nothing else around it works. And the only thing he said that makes the most modicum of, like, tiny modicum of sense is the idea that our history was a bit more advanced than we like give it credit for. It's the only bit that he said that makes the most little amount of sense.
Nevertheless, the age of Leo is not accepted by mainstream archaeologists and Egyptologists. They argue against Hancock's theory based on the premise that there is no scientific evidence that speaks about the age of Leo. Yet, Hancock's work has surprisingly led to deeper evaluation of historical facts as more people begin exploring past civilizations. Despite the stiff opposition,
Some
that
stoners on
Graham
YouTube
Hancock's
don't
theories
count.
continue to attract from mainstream archaeologists, scientists, and Egyptologists, they have gained acceptance from many people. More interesting is that many people are beginning to question existing historical narratives and dig deeper into recorded history. Who knows, another unconventional theory might be discovered in the process. Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you are still here, click on the video on your screen for more quality content like this one.
What? No. Oh, and look, and then there's some awful health brand trying to advertise as well to round us off. Right. Do you know what we're going to do before we head off? Right. I'm going to show you some videos I do highly recommend. Ancient Apocalypse. Right, I highly recommend, I can vouch for this, I speak to Aiden on a very regular basis. Oh look, there I am. I can highly recommend this video. He also did a stream with Mini Minuteman, like where they completely shred the arguments. Aiden actually gives a very fair and balanced view of Graham. So, like, you know, it's fair enough. I'm obviously going to then recommend Mini Minuteman, Ancient Apocalypse. The two parts that Mini Minuteman did on Ancient Apocalypse. He did two parts, I believe, and he might have done another one. These are very good breakdowns of Graham's arguments and debunking them. One from an actual archaeologist, and two, Aiden is medievalist, I believe is the title. I also just realised that I had the screen up showing you what videos to click on, and I've got it on the just chatting button. But yeah, if you have any more stuff you want to send to me for me to react to before we disappear, if not, I'm going to disappear off. I can't believe that. So yeah, according to Graham Hancock, the Jews were a hyper-advanced civilization, and we communicate with aliens whilst taking psychedelics. And that's how we built Atlantis, which is now Antarctica because the crust moved. Okay, right, okay, yeah. Ironically, the Ice Age never finished. Definition of an Ice Age is that there is ice on the polar caps. We're literally still in it. Yeah, that's crazy. Have you ever tried DMT? It's very spicy drug, guys. Thank you for the roses. Thank you for the roses, Super Donald. MMM is awesome. Yeah, Mini Minute Man is awesome. Yeah, I'm very much like it. Like, it's so obvious how easy it is to debunk. We'll also go back to the Law Lodge guys quick to show their off their video. They've actually got two, and they've done one with Mini Minute Man, which is a live stream. But yeah, there's no evidence of this. Everything they put forward they backed up with zero evidence, and for me that is a fatal flaw in your argument. If your evidence is, oh, are you rethinking your history now? No, because you've put forward ideas that are very, very far-fetched ideas, and then you've asked me to do the research for you. That's not how it works. You're meant to give me your idea and the evidence behind it, and then I can make an informed decision and go off and do further research to see if I agree with you. I actually have tried DMT in a scientific study, in the scientific study I was a part of to study it for use in depression treatment. It was amazing. Helped me learn a lot of stuff about myself and heal a good bit. Did you start a hyper-advanced civilization? That's what Graham Hancock thinks happens when you do. But yeah, guys. Thank you all for joining me for that. Next time I do one of these, I will put something a bit more sane for me to react to. Cause that was, yeah, that poll. I put the poll up thinking, oh, this will be a good thing. This will be fun to look at. And I've definitely lost brain cells. Probably because of the magical fruit juice. Yeah. Like, maybe next time I will just do a Crusader Kings 2 stream. Yeah. But I must say, we'll switch over to just chatting screen for now. I must say, thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, we'll read the last few comments. Paul Spencer, one last time, says, have a wonderful rest of the day and Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, I'm very grateful for you all joining. I'm going to have some more alcohol now. Yes. Yes, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, right, wrong button. There you go. Right. Bye, guys.